What is happening, guys? Chris from NGG here, and today I'm going to be reviewing the GuzLordWeavile Zoroark deck, or sorry, just the GuzLord Zoroark deck that you may be seen mentioned a couple of times at League Cup level. So I'm going to run through the card choices, different ways you can play the deck, and basically why this thing is a thing in this current format. So we'll start off with the centerpiece. It is GuzLord GX. If you do not know what this card does, you're completely forgiven, because it is a 210 HP GX basic, dark type, for 1 dark energy, eat sloppily, discard the top 5 cards of your deck, and if there's any energy there, attach it to the GuzLord. You very rarely use eat sloppily. It is only there for when you're fighting against those really high-paced decks that you need to sort of match, and you can't really afford to play the slow, grindy game. So Eat Sloppily is a really good option to have. I would compare it to Stormy Winds in Rayquaza. The same sort of theory there. You don't really set out to use it unless you absolutely have to. And then Tyrannical Hole is the sort of attack you're looking for. It needs 3 dark and a DCE for 180. If you read sloppily, it says energy card, not just basic energy. So if you do mill your DCSEs, or sorry, DCEs, you can attach them onto GuzLord to use that Tyrannical Hole. 180, 210 with a Choice Band, 230 with Professor Kukui, 240 with the Devoured Plane. So GuzLord can do a hell of a lot of damage, especially when you set it up with the Beast Ring. So basically you can just keep her going, keep the momentum going, and really make a comeback potential, especially with the comeback potential of GuzLord GX's Glutton GX. If your opponent's Pokemon is knocked out by damage from this attack, you take 2 more prize cards. That is just incredibly relevant against the 1 prize attacking decks that really win by skewing up the prize trade, not allowing you to take very many prizes, whereas they take the maximum amount each time. So if you resolve a Glutton GX onto stuff like Weavile, maybe a damaged BB Buzzwole, or Buzzwole you can knock out with like Kukui, Devoured Plains, it means you're taking the 2 prizes and you're also playing around Sledgehammer. So Sledgehammer will never be doing the 120 damage thanks to Glutton GX, and like I said, it is pretty simple to set up with the 2 Beast Ring, which you can find at any point in the game with 2 Mallow. So GuzLord GX just gives the deck a lot of options, a lot of ways to deal with the Shrine Menace that has been giving Zoroark quite a hard time. Partnering it, I'm obviously playing the 4 Zoroark, no reason to play less, draw support, main attacker, and you can actually use the GX attack. In this deck you can fire back stuff like Trashulance or Evil Adamation, Sledgehammer when it's live. It's just a really good option to have, but of course the main GX attack you're aiming for is the Glutton GX. And for the other dark Pokemon, we're playing a 1-1 line of Weavile because we can play it, so I really think we should. Evil Adamation, you probably either played it yourself or played against it this format. You can see just how quickly its damage can snowball out of nowhere. Dropping a Lele gives it 50 more Zoroark, Lycanroc, Macargo, Diancie, Oranguru. There's just so many ways that Weavile can hit for damage. It's very rare, nay impossible for Weavile to do 0. You're having to play some sort of road deck for that to happen, but Weavile is just a really good option. 1 energy, 1 prize attacker. Then Tabikoko, also a really good 1 energy, 1 prize attacker, but it's also the Guzma pivot, so I elected to play it in here because obviously GuzLord is muy retreat cost. So having that pivot is really good. And 2 Tabi Lele, I think it's standard to have in most decks now, just for the turn 1 supporter, and then the onwards into like the Guzma, turning your Ultra Balls into stuff like Guzma that you can really get out of those tricky situations. So having 2 Lele is good. Moving on to the trainers, as mentioned, we're playing 3 Beast Ring, 4 is too many, 2 is too little, so 3 is just the perfect amount. Just because when you're constantly cycling through your deck with trades, you want to land on the combo, which is obviously stuff like double Beast Ring or Choice Band. So the more times you manually draw into those cards, the less of pressure there is to resolve Mallow, because obviously if you do Mallow you can't use Kukui in the same turn. So drawing into the Kukui is obviously fantastic, because it means you can Mallow for the missing combo pieces that you need to resolve either your Tyrannical Hole or your Glutton GX combo. Then we are playing 4 copies of Nest Ball. You have to, because there is so many combo basics in the deck that playing maximum copies of this really does help the consistency of the deck. 1 Pal Pad to give the deck a grind game against the mirror, because putting back in Ace of Rollers is just fantastic. Putting stuff back in like Kukui so you can combo off again, also really good. Pal Pad definitely earns its place in the deck. Same with Stretcher, because recycling discarded maybe Zoroark pieces or your Weavile line again. Rescue Stretcher is just so blowout in the deck, so definitely a one-off. 2 Timer Ball, would love to put this up to 3, but 2 is definitely correct. You can play Great Ball over this if you really want. If you're just not feeling confident with your coin flips, that's absolutely fine. It's definitely an option I've seen people go for, just to have higher odds of hitting what you need rather than relying on the coin flip. Personally, I just like Timer Ball because the chances of it double missing are very low. They are 25%, I do believe. That's high, but still low enough for me to be okay with Timer Ball. And then of course Full Ultra Ball, nothing really to talk about there. It's a 4 of in every deck. 2 Devoured Fields, because it is a combo piece, so you want not just 1 copy of it, because it makes it harder to draw into, and obviously they can bump it if you need to use it early, so having 2 copies of it is really solid. 2 Acerola for the mirror, and also Guzzlord is very beefy, so just having you be able to Acerola back up is pretty good in a pinch, but mostly it is here for recycling the Zoroarks against the mirror. Then 1 Apricot Maker, just to search the Nest Balls turn 1 or turn 2 after it searches Ultra Ball, which of course gets any Pokemon, and also Timer Ball, which gets your evolutions going. Then 3 Cynthia, just draw supporter consistency, just to out stuff like Judge and Marshadow soft locks, and just refilling your hand. Cynthia is the best draw supporter that we have available to us right now. 3 copies of Guzma, I would love to put 4 in, but there is just not any space. You have Pal Pad anyway, so it's not the end of the world. But yeah, just giving you exactly what you need, a Tyrannical Hole, or if the Pokemon you're aiming for is weak enough, you can Guzma it up and then GX attack it to take 2 more prizes. So Guzma can be another combo piece that you do want to play near max lines of. 2 copies of Judge, you could definitely drop this down to 1, but I just feel like having stuff like Guzzlord and then judging your opponent, for example, after you've maybe, or you're about to take 2 more prize cards, it really puts your opponent in a tricky spot. So it's not as good as N, never will be, but Judge is pretty good, especially when you do see it in that little pocket, which is turn 2 when you go first. So Judge at 2 definitely can cut it down. 1 Lily, because if you don't really want to use the Apricot Maker turn 1, i.e. you have no turn 2 in your hands currently, you play Lily instead. Hopefully see your Nest Balls, the drop down Zoruas, but also being able to draw into a turn 2 supporter like Judge, hopefully if you have Zoroarks, but mostly Cynthia or Guzma or Mallow. So that's why Lily is played, and of course Mallow, because this is a very combo heavy deck. It needs to see stuff like Beast Ring, your Guzzlord obviously, Choice Band. So playing 2 Mallow is really good, because just how dependent you are on seeing all your combo pieces together. So that is why we're playing 1 or 2 copies of Mallow. Then 1 copy of Professor Kukui. I probably would drop a Judge for a second Kukui, just because, as I said earlier, it is a combo piece and you want to see, you do want to manually see it without having to search it. So that's why 2 probably is correct. Actually thinking about it right now, I probably would just take out a Judge for a Kukui. Just in testing, Judge has been very good, but Professor Kukui is a main combo piece to smack into likes of Baby Buzzwole with your Glutton GX. Just a really good card. So 2 of for definite, and lastly for the trainers, 3 copies of Choice Band. Again, combo piece, need to play as much of it as you can without hampering consistency. And obviously Choice Band without even the combo of Guzzlord, it just helps you hit numbers against things you really wouldn't be hitting before. We all know the combo for taking out Rayquaza and Tapu Bulu is Zoroark, DCE, Full Bench, Devour Plains, Professor Kukui, and Choice Band lands you on that nice soft 180 points of damage, which just puts you right back into the game. Then we are playing 4 DCE, obviously, because it's a Zoroark deck, and 6 copies of the basic Dark because of Beast String, and obviously if you have to use it, the Eat Sloppily. You can't really play the unit energy because you need basic energy for Beast String. Otherwise, I would be playing it with stuff like Tapu Lele or BB Buzz, but you have to play the basic Dark energy, unfortunately, because of Beast String's requirements. So there you go, guys. Hope you enjoyed the deck. The matchups all round are really good. It is sort of designed to go toe-to-toe with Shrine. Yes, you're probably immediately thinking that this is hella weak to Dark or fighting, but it's actually really not, because Guzzlord is very beefy. Because you're denying Sledgehammer, the numbers that Buzz will hit isn't as really high as they were before. They have to really open that hard combo of Beast Energy. Sorry, they can't even, so you're not, because you're denying Sledgehammer, they can't even take out the really high knockouts. So like I said, hope you enjoyed the deck. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments and I will get to you as soon as possible. Check out the rest of our videos, guys. See you next time.